Hello everyone and welcome to our discussion. Today, we will be having the solutions to the question in our Kahoot challenge. If you were not able to answer the quiz yet, pause this video and go to the link found in the description box below before you continue watching. If you're done, then let's start. Okay, so for the first question, we have here, find the circumference of the circle below. So if we're going to analyze the figure, we can see here that a rectangle is inscribed in a circle. So when can we say that a particular figure is inscribed in another figure or another shape? So as you can see here, the vertices of our rectangle are points on the circle. Okay? Ayan. So if that's the case, if you're going to observe this line here, this is the diagonal of the rectangle and at the same time, the circumference, rather the diameter of the circle. Again, it is the diagonal of the rectangle and at the same time, the diameter of the circle. Okay, so going back to our question, we have here, find the circumference of the circle below. So if we're going to find the circumference of the circle, that will be equal to 2 pi r or pi d, right? Okay, so to do that, to find the circumference of the circle, we need either the value of r or the value of d. So dahil sabi natin kanina, this one, the diagonal of our rectangle is at the same time the diameter of our circle. So pag nakuha natin yung diagonal na ito, meron na rin tayong value for our diameter. Okay, so in our figure, we have two values. We have here 12 and 9. And we can also see this symbol here indicating that this particular angle is a right angle. So of course, if that is a right angle, so we can say that we have here two right triangles. Okay? So since this side is congruent to this side, and this side is also congruent to the side opposite to it, so we can transfer our figure as this one. Okay, so like this. So the length here is 12. So if this is 9, we can also say that this is also 9. Okay, and we have here a right angle. So if we have a right triangle and we're going to find the length of the sides, what are we going to use? So that will be the Pythagorean Theorem. So for the Pythagorean Theorem, so this one states that c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared, wherein c is the hypotenuse. So this is the hypotenuse. And then a and b are the legs of the right triangle. Okay, so you can make use of this one, or you can also make use of, if you're familiar with the Pythagorean triples. This will be time efficient if you're familiar with the Pythagorean triples. Okay, so ano ba yung mga sinasabi natin Pythagorean triples? So the common Pythagorean triples are 3, 4, 5. We also have 5, 12, 13. We also have 7, 24, 25, 9, 40, 41, and so on. And their multiples, okay? Take note of that, and their multiples. So pag sinabi natin multiples, for example, you have 3, 4, 5. Here, 3, 4, and 5. If we're going to multiply 3, 4, and 5 by the same number, let's say we multiply all of this by 3, so you will have 9, 12, and 15. So 9, 12, and 15 here are also Pythagorean triples. So what have you observed here? So 9, 12, 15, ayun. So we have the third side, which is 15. So if that's the case, we can find or identify the value of c here as 15 even without actually solving. Okay? Okay, so we can say that c here is equal to 15. Okay? So you can recheck if c here will be really 15 by substituting the values 9, yan, and 12 here. So that is equal to c squared. So sige, solve na rin natin. So that will be c is equal to c squared is equal to 81 plus 144. So if we're going to add 81 and 144, that will be 225. And of course, since you have squared here, you're going to extract the root of both sides. So you will have C is equal to 15. Okay, so the same as our value here na nakuha natin based on the Pythagorean triples, no? So ang pinagkaiba nga lang, just as I said a while ago, if you're familiar with the Pythagorean triples, mas mabilis, no? Shorter solution, of course, if you're taking exams, entrance exams, the shorter the time for you to solve a particular item, mas maganda, no? So, doon tayo sa fast with accuracy. Okay? So, since we have here C is equal to 15, so that is the diagonal of our rectangle. At the same time, that is the diameter of our circle. So, all we have to do is just substitute. So, 15 here, that will be 15. Okay? So, we're going to make use of pi d. So, therefore, we will have pi, and then the diameter is 15, or we can write this as 15 pi, and that will be the circumference. So, the correct answer here is this one. Okay? So, we have here. So, we have here ito, on the right side, I can see the number of correct responses, no? So, mas marami pa rin yung namali for this item. Okay? Next item. We have question number 2. If the lengths of the sides of a square are doubled, what is the effect on the area? Okay, so what will happen here? So we're dealing with the, sabi dyan, area and the sides of a square. So we have here the sides of the square. Alam natin na all the sides are congruent. Okay, so to find the area of a square, that will be equal to s squared. Okay, okay, so since we know that area is equal to s squared, so sa problem natin nakalagay if the length of the sides are doubled. So, area of the square is equal to na-double daw yung length ng side. So, instead na s, magiging 2s siya. Right? 2s kasi i-double daw natin yung length ng side. And of course, alam naman natin, so this is the side, we just substituted 2s to s kasi din-double daw yung side niya, yung length ng side. And then, we're going to square. So, if we're going to solve for this one, that will be 2s squared, quantity 2s squared will be 4s squared. Okay, so now that we have this one, so we can compare these two values here. So, the original one, s squared, and then the second area, which is 4s squared. So, kung mapapansin niyo pareha siyang may s squared. So, ang pinagkaiba lang, if you're going to compare, this one here on the right side is multiplied by 4. So, for this one, the correct answer is this one. The area will increase 4 times. Ayun. So, we have that as the correct answer. Okay? Okay, so we have question number 3. In the coordinate system given, in which quadrant is sine positive and cosine negative? Okay, so in this particular item, you need to take note of the acronym ACTS. Okay, so you have A, C, T, S. Okay, so this acronym stands for all, cosine, tangent, and sine. Ang ibig sabihin niyan, on each respective quadrant, yung mga yan lang, yung function, yung trigonometric function, na positive sila. Okay? So, for example, on the first quadrant, ang positive ay all the functions. For the second quadrant, it's sine together with its reciprocal function, cosecant. And then for the third quadrant, we have tangent and its reciprocal function cotangent. And then for the last one, it's cosine and its reciprocal function secant. So the question is, in which quadrant sine is positive? So for sine is positive, we have two choices. It's quadrant 1 and quadrant 2, right? But we have here cosine is negative. So it cannot be quadrant 1 anymore because sabi dito, cosine is negative. So for this one, the correct answer will be quadrant 2. Okay? Next one, question number 4. Find the measure of angle DAC. So for angle DAC, that will be Okay, so we have here this given angle DAC, wherein A is the vertex of the angle. Okay, so with this one, we have here angle DAC that intercepts the circle at a point outside the circle. So if that's the case, if we have an angle intercepting a circle at a point outside the circle, so to find the measure of that given angle, so the measure of angle DAC in this case will be equal to the difference between the intercepted major arc and the intercepted minor arc divided by 2. Okay? So, as you can see here, we have the given values 145 and 55. So, yung value ng B natin dito, sa identified as 55 degrees. So, ano ba yung value ng A natin? So, the value of A, of course, is not 145. Kasi ang sinasabi natin na intercepted arc is this point here. Ito, this one. So, how are we going to identify the value of this arc? So, alam naman natin that in a given circle, that is 360 degrees. So, kung 360 degrees yan, that will be 360 degrees minus 145 degrees. And then, we have here, or the difference between 360 and the sum of 145 and 55 degrees. Okay, so that will be 360 degrees minus, so 145 plus 55, that will be 200, right? Okay. So, therefore, that will be 160 degrees. Okay? So, we have here, itong angle natin, or the arc here, this one, the intercepted arc is 160 degrees. Okay, so solving for this one, the value of A is 160 degrees minus 55 degrees all over 2. So, that will be 160 minus 55, that will be 105 degrees divided by 2, and that will give us 55, that will give us, that will give us a value of 52.5 degrees, and that will be this answer. Okay, next, number 5. So, for the center and radius of the circle, x squared plus y squared minus 8x plus 10y plus 5 is equal to 0. Okay, so this given equation here is in general form. Okay, so in general form, yan, we cannot identify right away the center and the radius of the circle. So, we need to write this equation first in its standard form, which is, or the HK form, okay? So, that will be, so if we're going to do that, ayan, so our given equation is x squared plus y squared minus 8x plus 10y plus 5 is equal to 0. Okay, so, pagtabi-tabihin natin yung same na variable. So, we have x squared minus 8x. And then we have, we leave a space kasi we're going to find a value here. Okay? So, plus y squared plus 10y. And then, we have here is equal to 0. But we have here 5, so we can transpose 5 to the other side of the equation, making it negative. Okay? So, ano yung sinasabi natin na value na ilalagay natin dito? So, for that, we're going to complete the square. So, for completing the square, we need to have the middle term. Kasi if that will be, if we're going to have the completing the square of this, that will become a trinomial. So, we will be having values here. Okay? So, we have the middle term, 8, and negative 8 and positive 10. So, let us have negative 8 first. So, for completing the square, that will be n over 2 squared. So, to start with, let us have negative 8 over 2 squared. So, negative 8 over 2, that will mean negative 4. And then, squaring it, that will give us positive 16. So, that will be plus 16. And then, on the other side, we will be having 10 over 2 squared, and that will give us 5 squared, which is 25. Okay? So remember, we have this concept on equality. So if we're working on equation, to maintain the equality, to maintain the equation, whatever you do on the left side, gagawin mo rin sa right side. So nag-add tayo ng 16, add din tayo ng 16 dito sa right side. Nag-add tayo ng 25, mag-add din tayo ng 25 sa kabilang side. Okay? So if you're going to simplify this, that will be x, follow the sign of the middle term, minus 4 squared, plus, we have y, following the sign of the middle term, plus the square root of 25. Ito yung 4 natin kanina, nakuha natin, square root of 16, that will be 4. Square root of 25 will be 5. Then, squared is equal to, simplifying the right side of our equation, that will be negative 5 plus 16, that will be 11, plus 25, that will give us 36. Okay? So, to identify the center, that will be, so we have here negative 4, that will become positive 4, and then we have here positive 5, it will become negative 5. Okay? So, that will be the center. And then for the radius, alam naman natin na the standard form is written na yung right side niya, this one, is equivalent to r squared. So, kung r squared yan, of course, to find the value of r, we get the square root. Okay? So, pag kumuha tayo ng square root ng number, is a positive and negative. But since we are dealing here with the length, we have no negative length in this case. So, we will just get the positive value, which is 6. So, we have 4, negative 5, and the radius is 6. So, the correct answer is the first one, which is this. Okay, so many of you got the correct answer on this item. Okay, next one. So question number 6, you are conducting a survey at your school and randomly selected every 10th student that walks into the cafeteria. The question here is, what sampling technique is used in this particular situation? Okay, so isa-isahin natin. So we have here, ayan, stratified random sampling. Okay, if you're familiar, pag sinabi natin stratified random sampling, you are making use of strata or groups. Okay? So, let's say, for example, we have the grade 7 students, grade 8 students, grade 9, grade 10, for example, and then there are particular values there. Kunwari, 100 grade 7, 150, 120, and then let's say 130. So for stratified random sampling, you're going to get a particular portion from each strata. Okay, so that's stratified random sampling. Pag sinabi naman nating simple random sampling, this is also known as the fishbowl sampling or the lottery sampling, wherein we put all the names in a box or in a bowl, and then randomly we will pick a number. So everyone has a chance to be selected. No? So, ang pinagkaiba lang nila sa stratified, of course, sa stratified, for every strata, depende kung ilan sila lahat doon sa particular strata na yon, merong particular na number kung ilan na makukuha sa bawat strata. Sa simple random sampling, possible dahil random yung pagkuha natin ng elements, possible na mas maraming makuhang grade 7 or possible na walang makuhang grade 9 kasi it depends on the luck. Yung luck na makuha yung particular na element from the population. Okay? So, pag sinabi nating systematic, from the word itself, systematic, meron particular na system. So, you're going to get, for example, every nth element. Okay? So, for example, na pinapila lahat sila, and then, every fifth person in the line. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, o kung sino yung pang number 5, that will be included, no? That will be picked from the population, oh. And then, from that, count ulit, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's it. And then, for the cluster sampling, ito naman, this is also known as the area sampling. Okay, so, pag sinabi nating area sampling, it pertains to location. Let's say, for example, you're going to get participants from Bataan, for example. So, kukuha ka, for example, from Limay, o ano ba yung mga bayan sa Limay, bayan sa Bataan, let's say Limay, and then kukuha ka from Abukay, o ano pa, from Orion, etc. Okay? So, in this particular question, dahil ayun, meron na tayo every 10th student, so the answer here is this one, systematic random sampling. Okay? Next. Okay, so this one, question number 7. What does the correlation coefficient R of, we have here negative, negative 0.85, okay, indicate about the direction and strength of a linear relationship. R, Pearson R, no? Okay. So, we have different tests na ginagamit natin to identify the significant relationship, ganyan, between the variables, okay? So, ito yung table, no? Yung table na nag-identify kung anong type ng correlation meron based on the given correlation coefficient. Dahil 0.85 siya, that will be somewhere here. Ayan, 0.85. Okay? So, for that, so, makikita natin this is very strong and strong. Sorry, we're having the negative value pala. So, we will be having it on the other side. Ayan, so dito siya. So, negative, negative, puro negative correlation, of course, ang choices natin. So, perfect ba siya? Pag perfect, that will be negative 1. Okay? Yun yung perfect negative correlation. So, we have strong, moderate, and weak. Of course, the answer here will be strong negative correlation. Okay, next one. Which of the following tests is not used to determine the significant relation between variables? Okay, so for here, the correct answer is this one, the z-test. So yung ibang test na yan, ginagamit natin to identify the significant relationship between variables. We have the Pearson R, we have the Spearman-Rowe, and the regression analysis. Now, medyo mahaba yung mga discussions for those particular tests. So we will be having another discussion for that. Okay. Next, which of the following is not a measure of central tendency? Okay, so for this one, maraming nakakuha ng tamang sagot. Okay, of course, the correct answer here is middle. So, mean, median, and mode are the three measures of central tendency. So, alam natin, mean is also known as the average. Okay, so for the average, you're going to, let's say, for example, ayan, you're going to add the numbers or the elements in a given population and then divided by kung ilan sila. Let's say, for example, we have 90 plus 94 plus 93 and then divide by, so we have 90, 94, 93, we have 3 elements, divide by 3. So the answer there will be the mean. So this is denoted by X bar. So we also have the median from the word middle. So it is the value located at the middle of a given set of numbers. But take note that for you to be able to get the median, of course, you should arrange your the numbers in your set into an array. Pag sinabi nating array, it will be either increasing or decreasing. Kailangan naka-arrange siya bago mo identify yung nasa gitna to get the median. So, this is denoted by X curl. And then, for the mode, pag sinabi nating mode, denoted by X hat, that will be, this is mode. That will be the most frequently occurring number. Pag sinabing most frequently occurring number, this is the number that appears most in a given set of data. Okay, so the answer here is middle. Next one, question number 10. How many 3-digit even numbers can be formed using 0, 7, 2, 3, 6, and 8 if the repetition of digits is allowed? Okay, pwedeng maulit yung digit. So, 3-digit number daw tayo. 3-digit number, we have the hundreds place, tens place, and the ones place. Pag sinabi natin nga pala na yun nga, repetition is allowed, pwede na let's say 222, 770, ayun na, repeat yung mga digits. Okay? So, paano daw ang gagawin natin? So, let us analyze the given number here, 0, 7, 2, 3, 6, and 8. Dahil lang sabi dyan ay even numbers, pwede tayo anyway, you can start anywhere here, no? So, ako I will be starting dun sa ating ones place. So, kapag ka-even number siya, syempre, mag-e-end lang siya with 0, 2, 6, saka 8. Hindi siya pwedeng mag-end ng 7, saka 3. Tama? Kasi hindi na even number yun. Pagka ang last digit ay 7 saka 3. So, ang pwede lang natin dito sa ones digit natin will be 0, 2, 6, and 8. So, that will be 1, 2, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, you will be writing here 4. Okay? So, for the tens place, pwede ba nating ilagay etong any of these 6 numbers? Of course, pwede yan, no? So, pwedeng magkaroon ng 0 sa gitna. So, that will be 6. Ibig sabihin ng 6, silang 6, pwedeng mailagay as a number here in the tens place. Okay? And then, for the last one, 3-digit even number tayo. Okay? So, alin lang dyan ang hindi pwedeng mapunta sa hundreds place kung ang pinag-uusapan ay 3-digit number. Pwede ba tayong magkaroon ng 0 sa harapan? Let's say 071. 3-digit number pa ba to? Of course not. So, ang hindi natin pwedeng ilagay sa hundreds place dito sa given numbers natin na 0, 7, 2, 3, 6, and 8 will be 0. So, hindi pwede si 0. So, we can have 7, 2, 3, 6, and 8 sa ating hundreds place, and that will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that will be 5. So, to identify the number of 3-digit even numbers, all you have to do is just get the product. 5 times 6 times 4 will give us 120. And this is the answer. Okay? Next one. What is the remainder when p of x is equal to x cubed? So we have here p of x is equal to x cubed plus 3x plus 1 is divided by x minus 2. Okay? Okay, so we have here the remainder theorem, no? So all we have to do is just substitute the value of this one. This is our divisor, and then we have our dividend, okay? So for this one, x is equal to 2, that will be x minus 2, sorry, not x, x equal to x minus 2 is equal to 0. So to find the value of x, that will be negative 2. On the other side, that will be positive 2. So all we have to do is just substitute this value to our function. So p of 2 will be equal to 2 cubed plus 3 times 2 plus 1. So we replace all x by 2. So that will be 8 plus 6 plus 1, and that will give us 15. So the correct answer here is 15. Okay? Next one, all functions are relation. So if we're going to illustrate relations and functions, let's say these are the relations. Under relations or inside the relations, we have functions. Okay? So sa loob yung functions. Under ng relation, yung function. So, sabi dyan, all functions are relations. So, lahat daw ba ng nandito, nasa loob nito, lahat daw ba sila, all functions are considered relations? Of course, the correct answer is true. Okay? Pero pag binaligtad, sinabi na, all relations are functions. Pag ito yung nakalagay, of course, this is false. Hindi lahat ng relation ay function. Pero all functions are relations. Okay? Okay, next. How many two-digit numbers between 15 and 100 is divisible by 3? Okay, so ilan daw siya? We have the term here, between. So kung between 15 and 100, that will be from 16 hanggang 99 lang kasi between daw. Okay? So, two-digit numbers, ayan. So, in this case, paano gagawin natin? So, pwede pong bilangin na lang. We can count how many of them. No? Skip counting. Okay? But if you're going to it, you can do skip counting kung ganyan lang siya. But what if we have, let's say, 3-digit numbers na? Ang dami, no? Okay, so paano natin siya isosolve? So, in this case, we can have, this is a problem that can be solved using arithmetic sequence. So, we have sequence a sub n is equal to a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. Wherein a sub n is the nth term. This is the nth term. A sub 1 is the first term. N is the number of terms. And D is the common difference. Okay? So, alam naman natin, pagka-arithmetic sequence siya, there's a constant value that is added, no? Para makuha yung next. Let's say, for example, we have start with 7, and then the common difference is 3. So that will be 7, 10, 13, 16, 16, 19, and so on. Okay? Ma'am, bakit po difference? Difference po yung ginagamit natin. Kasi if you're going to get a difference between two consecutive terms in the sequence, we have here 3. So get the difference, 16 minus 13, that will be 3. 13 minus 10, that will be 3. 10 minus 7, that will be 3. Okay? So going back to our problem, ano yung magiging value ng ating a sub n? And a sub n, we have, ang hinahanap kasi natin dito is the number of terms. Ilan daw kasi. Okay? So we have a sub n, and then, okay, erase natin to. Tayo ng another color para makita. Okay, so we have here a sub n is equal to a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. Okay, so how many two-digit numbers? Yan. So, ang a sub n natin is the last term. So, from 16 to 99, what is the last term na divisible by 3? So, of course, gagamitin natin mga divisibility rules natin dyan. So, para malaman mo na divisible siya by 3, the sum of the digits must be divisible by 3. So, 99, we can have 99 as our last term because 99 is divisible by 3. So, our first term naman, so titingnan natin 16. Is 16 divisible by 3? No. So, you will have 17, not also divisible by 3. So, the first number that is divisible by 3 from 16 to 99 will be 18. And then, of course, n, hindi natin alam yung value ng n dahil yan ang isosolve natin kasi ang tinatanong how many two-digit numbers, ilan daw yung terms. So, dahil divisible by 3, kung divisible siya by 3, of course, the value of d will be 3 kasi divisible ba siya by 3. Kung divisible by 4, of course, ang value ng d natin will be 4. Okay? So, if we're going to solve for this one, so we're going to substitute to our formula. We will be having here 99 is equal to, our a sub 1 is 18, plus n minus 1 times d. So, 99 is equal to 18, plus, I'm sorry, this is not supposed to be d, palitan na natin siya, substitute na natin right away ang value ng ating d, which is 3. So, plus, so we're going to distribute 3 times n and 3 times negative 1. So, you will have 3n minus 3. So, you will have 99 is equal to 18 minus 3. So, 18 minus 3 will be, combined like terms na tayo. So, we have here 18. Ito yung dalawa. So, we have here 18 and then negative 3. That will give us 15 plus 3n. So, 99 transpose 15, that will be negative 15 is equal to 3n. So, you will have 99 minus 15 will be 84. 84 is equal to 3n. So, divide both sides by 3. N will be equal to 28. So, the correct answer is this one, 28. Okay? So, that's the answer. Next one, what is a graph of a second degree function? Okay, second degree function, meaning it is a, pag second degree, quadratic function. Quadratic function. Pag quadratic function, that will be, what will be the graph? So, that will be, of course, parabola. It is called parabola. A parabola that opens upward or downward. Teacher, may iba pong mga, ma'am, may mga iba pong parabola opening to the left or to the right. Yes, but that is not considered a function. Okay? So, pinag-usapan natin ay function. Okay? So, opening upward or downward lang for our parabola. Okay? Pagka-line kasi, of course, from the name itself, line is a graph of a linear function. Okay? Alam natin yan. No? So, we have curve for the other functions, and we also have the circle. But for this particular item, our answer will be parabola. Okay? Next one. If the base of a logarithmic expression is not indicated, it is understood to be, parang isa lang yata ito nakakuha ng tamang sagot. The correct answer is, of course, 10. Okay? Take note of that. Pag hindi indicated ang base ng ating logarithmic function, it's understood to be 10. Okay? Okay, so for question number 16, which of the following tests is used to identify whether a graph represents a one-to-one function? Okay, so medyo marami dito. Marami yung vertical line test. Siguro because you're familiar with the vertical line test when we are dealing with the functions. Okay, but the vertical line test is used if we are going to identify whether a given graph is a function or not. So let's say, for example, you have a given graph here. Let's say a parabola is supposed to be symmetric, no? So kung vertical line test ang gagamitin natin dyan, we're going to draw a vertical line on any part of, that's a vertical line, on any part of the graph, kailangan it will intersect the graph at exactly one point. If that's the case, we can say that this is a function. Okay? So from that, vertical line test yung ginagamit. Pero dahil sinabi niya, para ma-identify if it is a one-to-one function, we're going to make use of the horizontal line test. The answer here is this one, horizontal line test. Okay? So in this case, if you're going to draw a horizontal line across the graph, ayun. So horizontal line test, it intersected the graph at more than one point. Pag in-intersect yung graph at more than one point, it only means that the given function is not a one-to-one function. Okay? So this is not one-to-one. It's not a one-to-one function. I'm going to give you an example of a one-to-one function. So for example, meron tayong ganyan. Okay, so we have the horizontal and vertical axis. And then let's say for example, we have this given, ayan, okay, graph of a linear function. If we're going to test this using the horizontal line test, using horizontal line test, it intersected the graph at exactly one point. So this is a function. Okay, function. Now, if we're going to draw a horizontal line across a graph, horizontal, it will intersect the graph at exactly one point pa rin. So therefore, this is also a one-to-one function. Okay? So take note of that. Okay, next one. Ayan, ito, masaya to. So out of 40 Facebook users, 20 play Farmville, 26 play Mafia Wars, and 8 play both games. How many of them played neither games? Okay, so we can solve this one using a Venn diagram. Okay? So, gawa tayo. So, since na pinag-uusapan dyan ay Farmville sa Mafia Wars, so dalawa lang. Yung dalawa lang yung game na na-mention. We have Farmville, ito, Farmville, and Mafia Wars. Okay? And 8 play both games. Ito, both games. Okay. So, ang sabi dyan, out of 40, so if we're going to have, ayan, so ang N natin will be 40. Kasi 40 Facebook users daw. So, given, let's say for example, this will be for Farmville, this will be for Mafia Wars. So, sabi dyan, 8 play both games. So, let's start with that one. 8 played both games. So, dahil both, ibig sabihin, naglalaro ng Farmville, naglalaro ng Mafia Wars, so pwede natin ilagay yung 8 dito, sa gitna. Okay? Kasi parehong game nilalaro nila. So, ang kasunod dyan, Farmville, 20 daw ang naglalaro ng Farmville. So, dahil 8 na ay nandito, 8, so 20 daw ang naglaro ng Farmville. So, 20 minus 8, that will be 12. So, if you're going to look itong circle natin for Farmville, that will be 12 and 8, 20. Ayun yon. So, 20 na naglalaro ng Farmville. So, okay, correct tayo doon. For Mafia Wars naman, 8 daw ito, 26 daw ang naglaro ng Mafia Wars. So, 26 minus 8, that will be 18. Right? So, 18 plus 8, 26. So, ayun. Nandun lahat ng mga sinasabi nating naglaro ng Mafia Wars. So, the question, how many of them played neither games? So, walang nilaro doon sa mga Facebook users na yun daw. Sino daw doon ang hindi naglaro ng neither doon sa dalawang games? So, what we're going to do here is we're going to add, find the sum. So, we have 12 plus 8 plus 18. And that will give us 38. Right? So, dahil 40 ang Facebook users natin, 40 minus yung 38 na naglaro ng dalawang game, ilan daw ang hindi naglaro nung both games? So, ilalagay natin yun sa labas ng dalawang game, which is 2. So, the correct answer here is this one. Okay? Next one, this one. This is business mathematics. So at 2% simple interest, how much will 10,000 amount to after 3 years? Okay, so after 3 years daw, so we have simple interest lang siya. So that will be I is equal to PRT, wherein P is the principal amount. R is the rate. This is usually expressed in percent. And then, the last one is T, time. This is usually expressed in years. So, annually ang pinag-uusapan natin dito. Okay. So, based on our given, we have there 2%. Ayun, 2%, 10,000 pesos, and 3 years. Okay, so, i-label natin. Mahirap pag walang label. No? So, yung 2% natin, we also have 10,000 pesos, and we also have 3. So, i-label natin sila isa-isa. So, yung 2% natin, that will be R. Ang principal natin, ito, yung 10,000. And then, yung 3 natin, which is expressed in years, will be our time. So, kompleto. Kompleto yung ating given. So, we have I is equal to PRT. All we have to do is just substitute. So, we will be having 10,000 pesos times 2%, or in decimals that will be 0.02, and then our time will be 3. So upon solving, I will be equal to 600 pesos. Okay? But the question is how much will be its amount after 3 years. So isasama natin yung principal value. So for the present value, you're going to add 10,000 pesos and the computed interest, and that will give us 10,600 pesos. And that will be this one. Okay? So many of you got the correct answer for this item. Okay, so let us have question number 19. So with this one, we're going to solve this rational inequality 3x minus 9 all over x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 0. So we're going to start with a number line. Okay, so we have here a number line. So after that, we're going to get the critical values by setting the numerator and the denominator to 0. So we're going to start with the numerator. So we will have 3x minus 9 is 3x minus 9 is equal to, that's equal to 0. So 3x is equal to 9. So if we're going to divide both sides by 3, x will be equal to positive 3. Now, if we will be solving for x for the denominator, we will be having x plus 2 is equal to 0. So x will be equal to negative 2. So for this one, we're going to mark our number line using the critical value. So we will be having here negative 2, and then this one is positive 3. So we know that this arrowhead here indicates that it's going to the left side, going to negative infinity, while the arrowhead here indicates that it's going to, positive infinity. Okay? So next thing that we're going to do is we're going to check whether these two values can satisfy our inequality. So with this one, we have here 3x minus 9 in the numerator. So if we will be substituting 3 here, that will be 3 times 3, that is 9 minus 9, that is 0. So 0, the numerator of a rational equation like this one, a rational expression, can be 0. So, pwede natin siya. So 3 is considered a solution. So we're going to make use of a bracket here, indicating that it is part of the solution. In other examples, makikita ninyo na instead of a bracket, it can be a closed circle. So, parehas lang yun, no? Same lang nang ini-indicate. And then, for negative 2 naman, if we will be substituting negative 2 here in our denominator, that will be negative 2 plus 2, that will be 0. So, the denominator cannot be negative. So, if that's the case, we cannot have negative 2 as part of our solution. So, in that case, we will be having a parenthesis. Or in other examples, ang ginagamit natin dito ay open circle. Okay? So, kung mapapansin ninyo, dito sa ating illustration, meron tayo ditong tatlong area. So, the first area will be this area. Ito, this one. The second area will be, let's use another color, will be this one. And then the third area will be on the right side, which is this one. Okay? So, we're going to check the sign for each area. So, pipili tayo ng point, ng test point sa bawat area. So, if I were you, kuhanin na lang natin yung kasunod. Like, for example, in this green area, you can use any point here, but I prefer to use -3. Yung kasunod, you can have -100, but that will be more tasky kapag kasinolve nyo. So, let's have the next number na to the left. Okay? Sa yellow area naman, since 0 belongs to this area, you use 0. Kasi when we solve, kapag ka 0 siya, di ba, mas shorter yung ating magiging solution pagka, if let's say we multiply by 0. Okay? And then on the right side, since it's +3, we can just have +4. Okay? So those are the test values. So let us first have -3. So if it is -3, so for -3, that will be 3 times -3 minus 9, that will be 3 times -3, that will be -9, minus 9, and then for the numerator, we will be having -3 plus 2, that will give us -1. Actually, for this one, you don't have to really solve for the exact value. Ang kailangan lang natin malaman is what will be the sign. Ano yung magiging sign doon sa area na yon. So, this one, nakikita natin, this will be -9 minus -9, that will be -18. So, the numerator will be negative. And then, for the denominator, it will be also negative. So, negative divided by negative, that will be positive. So, yung sign natin sa area nito will be positive. Okay? So, for the next test point, we have 0. Okay? So, pwede na yan. You can solve it mentally. Tingnan nyo lang kasi kung ano yung magiging sign. So, if it is 0, so that will be 3 times 0 minus 9 all over 0 plus 2. And that will give us, so wala na ito, this is 0. So that will be -9 over +2. So that will be negative divided by positive. The sign here will be negative. Okay, so negative tayo sa second area. So for the third test point, we will be having +4. Okay, so for +4, that will be 3 times +4 minus 9 all over 4 plus 2. So with this one, you will be having 12 minus 9 all over 6. And that will be 12 minus 9 will be positive, right? And then divided by another positive number, positive divided by positive, that will be positive. So this sign here will be positive. Okay? So, next thing that we're going to do here is we're going to check ano yung mga particular areas na nasatisfy yung ating inequality. So, kung mapapansin nyo, ang ating inequality symbol here, ang inequality symbol natin is greater than or equal to 0. So, pag sinabi nating values greater than or equal to 0, of course, this will be the values. Ano yung mga values na yan? So, that will be from 0 going to positive infinity. Tama? Or, we can say that 0 and yung mga positive numbers natin. So, kailangan ng sign natin dito, ang solution natin should be yung positive na areas. Okay? So, if we're going to look here, tingnan natin yung ating number line, makikita natin na ang mga areas natin na positive is ito, yung green one, going to positive infinity. And then, yung isa pang positive natin na area will be this one, going to positive infinity also. Okay? So, if we're going to write our solution set for this one, it will be written as, susundan lang natin, no? So, makikita nyo yung green part natin dito, that will be negative infinity, and then negative 2. Parenthesis ang gagamitin natin for infinity symbols, no? Ang katabi, yung katabi ng ating infinity symbol, if we're going to write it in this form. And then, since ang ginamit natin dito is, ayan, makikita nyo, it's a parenthesis. So, ang gagamitin din natin dito is parenthesis. And then, for the next positive area, ang ginamit natin, napansin nyo, is a bracket. And then, we have 3, and then going to positive infinity, and then again parenthesis, and that will be the union of those sets. So if we're going to check our answer here dito sa ating choices, the answer will be ito, yung green part. Okay? So, ayun yung green part. This is ito. Ito yung mga nakakuha ng tamang sagot. So, we have negative infinity, negative 2, union, and then we have here 3, then going to positive infinity. Okay? Okay, so let us have an age problem for item number 20. So, we have here, we mentioned here, ayan, so we have Zach is 3 years younger than Micah. Okay? So, kinumpare yung age dito ni Zach sa ni Micah. So, if we're going to i-represent natin yung mga variables natin using, i-represent natin yung mga ages nila using variables. So, sabi dyan, we have Zach and Micah. Ayan. So, sabi doon, Zach is 3 years younger than Micah. So, pwede nating iset si Micah as X. And then, dahil 3 years younger si Zach kaysa kay Micah, that will be X minus 3. Kasi mas bata si Zach. Okay? So, after that, mas makatulong if you will be making a table. Okay? So, pakita natin. So, dito na natin. We have here Micah. And then, we have Zach. So, we have here their present ages. So, ang present ages nila si Micah ay X, and then si Zach is X minus 3. So, after that, tingnan natin yung kasunod, no? So, we have here 7 years from now. So, 7 years from now. So, pakita natin yon 7 years from now. So, alam naman natin, 7 years from now, ang age ay madadagdagan. Okay? So, gawin natin siyang tabular form para mas malinaw. Ayan. Oopsie. Okay, so tabular form. Okay. Ay, So, 7 years from now, madadagdagan parehas ng kanilang ages. So, kung si Micah ay X sa present age, that will be X plus 7. Dagdag tayong 7, no? So, for Zach naman, that will be X minus 3 plus 7. So, that will be X minus 3 plus 7. Or, if we're going to simplify, that will be X plus 4. Right? Okay. So, sabi dyan, dito sa ating next na statement, 7 years from now, Micah's age, ito, this one. Micah, is my pen. Micah here, sorry, ayun siya. Micah's age will be 18 less than twice Zach's age. Zach's age, okay? So, isa-isahin natin. So, sabi, Micah's age, 7 years from now, pinag-usapan natin. So, ito yon. So, Micah's age, 7 years from now, will be, Micah's age, so ito yung age ni Micah, will be, it's equivalent to equal sign, 18 less than twice Zach's age. So, ang kukunin natin is yung x plus 4. Okay? Ma'am, ba dyan po natin kinukuha 7 years from now? Ayun po kasi sa statement nakalagay 7 years from now. Okay? So, kaya dito tayo kumuha sa variables natin na nasa column ng 7 years from now. So, as simple as that, let us solve for x. So, x plus 7 is equal to 2x plus 8 minus 18. Simplifying this further, x plus 7 is equal to 2, this will be, yes. Sorry. So, for this one, kaya lang ha, medyo nagmadali tayo sa part na yon. Let us double check this one. So, sabi natin, if we're going to solve for this one, okay, ulitin natin. So, for that, we will be having x plus 7 is equal to 2x plus 8 minus 18. Ayun. So, we need to distribute positive 2 to the terms inside the parentheses. So, 2x plus 8 minus 18. So, after that, we will be having x plus 7 is equal to 2x, and then combining like terms, that will be minus 10. No. So, after that, lagay natin yung same terms on one side of the equation. I prefer to have the x values on the right side since mas malaki na rito yung value ng x. So, lipat natin si x dito. It will become negative x. And then, 7 will stay on the left side. Once we have negative 10 on the other side, it will become positive. So, that will be 17 is equal to x. So, ang age ni Micah daw will be 17. So, nakita na natin, nandun na yung sagot. Actually, no? which is this one. Ito siya. So, x kasi natin dito, makita nyo, ang variable x natin, sabi natin kanina, ang variable x natin ay si Micah. So, kung Micah is equal to x and x is equal to 17, therefore, Micah is equal to 17. Actually, pwede nyo naman siyang i-recheck dahil sabi naman dyan, Zach is 3 years younger than Micah. So, 17 minus 3 lang, and that will give you 14. Okay, so the correct answer is this one. Okay, so we have here question number 21. Actually, this is similar to the other question that we have a while ago, no? So with this one, again, we will be having here the acronym ACTS or ACTS. Okay? So sabi dyan, which of the following trigonometric functions is or are positive on quadrant 4? So if we're going to check quadrant 4, C here stands for cosine and its reciprocal identity, which is secant. Okay, so the answer here will be this one, cosine and secant. Number 22, what is the reference angle of a 140-degree angle? So, reference angle. How do we define a reference angle? So, when we say reference angle, that is the smallest acute angle between the terminal side of an angle and the x-axis. Okay? So, with this one, if we're going to illustrate yung 140 degrees natin, it will be somewhere here. So, makikita nyo, the terminal side of our angle falls on the second quadrant. Okay. So, by definition, smallest acute. Okay. Smallest acute angle, or rather, we say here the positive acute angle between the terminal side of an angle and then the x-axis. Okay? So, for this one, ito yung ating x-axis, right? So, this is the x-axis, and this is the terminal side. So, kung makikita nyo, meron lang tayong dalawang angle dyan. This angle and this angle. Pero sabi dyan, positive acute. So, it will be less than 90 degrees. So, between these two angle, ito yung sinasabi nating reference angle. Okay? So, this is the reference angle. So, if that's the case, ano kaya yung measurement niyan? If this part here, or this angle measures 140 degrees, so, yung ating reference angle will be the angle that will complete this one. Kapag meron tayong straight angle, di ba, that is 180 degrees. So, that will be, for quadrant 2, reference angle will be equal to 180 degrees minus 140 degrees, and that will give us 40 degrees. And the answer will be this one. Okay? Ayan. So, take note. A reference angle cannot be negative. It's a positive acute angle. Okay? Okay, so let us have quiz number, item number 23. Okay, so we're going to solve this equation. So, nire-write ko lang siya dito para makita natin ang buo yung equation. Okay, so we have 5 raised to x plus 1 plus 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 5 raised to x plus 1 is equal to what value? So, that is what we're going to solve for. Okay, so kung mapapansin nyo, we have 5. Limang 5 raised to x plus 1. So, itong ating expression na ito can be written as 5 times 5 raised to x plus 1. Right? Okay. So, for that, after that, we're going to apply the laws of exponent. So, sa laws ng ating exponent, di ba? If we're going to have this one, this is a product rule. Pag parehas ang base natin, and then the operation is multiplication, what we're going to do is we're going to add the exponents. So, we will be having here 5, and then we have 1 plus x plus 1. So, yung 1 natin na ito, syempre, nanggaling siya doon. And then, yung x plus 1 natin na ito, exponent naman siya nung second term natin. Okay. So, simplifying this further, we will be having 5 combined like terms. We have x plus 1 plus 1, that will be 2. So, the answer will be this one. So, mukha lang siyang complicated, but it's easy lang. Okay? Next, number 24. So, a segment can divide a circle into two parts. So, pakita natin. So, we have here the number of segments. And then, we have another one for the number of parts. Okay? So, sabi dyan, a segment can divide a circle into two parts. Two segments can divide it into four parts. And three segments can divide it into 7 parts. Okay, so the question is, how many parts can a circle be divided if we will be having 4 segments? Okay, so the beauty of math uh, is on patterns, no? So tingnan din natin siya. So yun muna tingnan natin, is there a pattern? May nakikita ba tayong pattern with this one? So tingnan natin. So the difference between 2 and 4 will be 2, right? So for the second one, 4 and 7, the difference will be 3. So, most probably, for the next one, that will be, so 2, 3. So, ang difference ng kasunod between the next number and the previous number will be 4. So, that is the same as adding 4 to the previous number, which is 7. So, therefore, our answer here is 11. Okay, 11 minus 7, that will be 4. So, the correct answer here is this one, 11. Okay? And then, for the last item, what is the value of cosine 120 degrees? Okay, so cosine 120 degrees. So we can easily find the value of this if we're going to use our calculators. But how are we going to do that if we do not have a calculator? Okay, so kung hindi kayo na lang mag-calculate, paano nyo malalaman yung value ng ating cosine 120 degrees? Okay, so dito actually pumapasok yung concept natin ng reference angle. Okay? So, kapag ka reference angle, yung sinasabi natin na reference angle, ayan, if the reference angle is 30 degrees, we have the ordered pair is square root of 3 over 2 and 1/2. Pumapasok dito if you can still remember your lessons on unit circle, no? So, yan yun. And then, if the reference angle is 60 degrees, baliktad naman siya. So, that's 1/2, then square root of 3 over 2. Meron pa yung isa, if the reference angle is 45 degrees, madaling i-memorize, no? That will just be square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2. So, doon lang tayo dun sa 30 saka 60 degrees, so kayo mako-confuse. So, we also know that if we have this ordered pair and we're dealing with the trigonometric functions, the x value corresponds to the cosine value, and then the y value corresponds to the sine value. Okay? So, yan, nakalagay dyan, we have the given angle. Ang given angle natin ay 120 degrees. If it is 120 degrees, what will be the reference angle? So, ang reference angle natin, ayan, so we have here 120 degrees. It will be somewhere, erase natin. It will be somewhere here. Lang, change tayo ng pen. It will be somewhere here. Yan yung ating 120 degrees. So, if this is 120, this is 180. 180 ito. So, ang titirang angle natin dito will be 60 degrees. Okay, so if that is 60 degrees, so gagamitin natin tong value na ito. Okay, so with this one, we will be having, so sabi natin dyan, ang ating reference angle ay 60 degrees. So, we will be using 1/2 and then square root of 3 over 2. Okay? So, sabi natin dyan, sabi dito, cosine. So, dahil cosine siya, we will be getting this x value or the 1/2. So, 1/2. So, 1/2 na ba yung sagot natin dyan? Hindi pa po. Double check muna natin. Kasi, remember dun sa ating acronym kanina, we have the acts. Okay? So, since ito, 120 degrees natin ay nasa quadrant 2, ano ang sign ng, is it positive ba or negative ang ating cosine function? So, dahil nandito tayo sa quadrant 2, ito tayo, no? Quadrant 2, ang positive lang daw sa quadrant 2 ay si sine. So, ibig sabihin, negative dyan si cosine, right? So, dahil yon, it falls on the second quadrant. Nandito siya sa second quadrant. And, ang value niya is 1/2. So, negative ang cosine dito, we will be having this as a negative value. So, the correct answer here is this one. Okay? And that ends our discussion Hope everything is clear. So if you have any question or clarification, please feel free to send me a message, okay? So God bless and stay safe to everyone. Bye.